Welcome to Trek Online. I'm Gordon.
And I'm Tiny Note Dan.
And we're your hosts, and we're filling in for Heather while she's off on maternity leave, and we're having a lot of fun while we're here and adding new segments each week, and it's been lots of fun. Very exciting.
But before we even talk about those new segments, there's a segment and a tradition that has started not even a year ago, but it is a tradition. And it is, hey Gordon.
Hey Daniel.
What do you call... Oh. Why does a... No! Messing up my joke. Shh. Why does a seagull fly over the sea?
I don't know.
Because if it flew over the bay, it would be called a bagel! That took way too long to do.
You had a good joke. The delivery was lacking.
Yep, the execution was poorly.
But you stuck the landing, so
Did I?
I applaud you on that. Yeah, you got a nice finish in there. Okay. We're just gonna breeze on right past that. Kind of like the breeze that blew past me last week, and as you can see, my hair, it's gone.
There's nothing there. Well, there's a bit.
There's just a very, very thin amount of hair on my head, and we attributed that to high winds and very thin hairline.
Surprise, I singed his hair off.
Shh, don't tell the kids. All right, well, we are very excited to welcome a new segment this week.
What is it?
A week earlier than what we were anticipating.
Yes, it is.
So
that's the big surprise. This week is you get a new segment, not next week, but this week. So get entertained, because the person that is doing the new segment is looking right outside the door from real creepily.
Yes.
He's a little shy, but don't worry. We'll get him out. We'll get him on the news feed here.
All right, so let's pass it over to our new segment.
It is
Oot and a Boot with
Don Terrio.
Well, hey kids, welcome to Oot and a Boot. I'm your host Don Terrio, and today we've got something really cool. Let's go check it out. Now, to some this may just look like a weed, Your parents may even just have you pull them out of the front lawn. This is actually a Taraxacum officinale. Did you know, the yellow petals of this little flower here open up when the sun comes out to say hi to the world. And when the sun goes down at bedtime, it closes back up, and goes to sleep. You know, every part of this flower is useful. Back in the day, they used to make food from this. They used to dye their clothes with the yellow color. And they even used to make a drink out of it. That's crazy, Back in the 1800s, people realized how useful dandelions were. They even pulled the grass out of their lawn to make room for them, The word dandelion comes from the French word dent de lion, which means lion's tooth, because of the sharp leaves, the sharp points on the leaves. Now, when the little yellow petals of the flower are ready, they dry up and they reveal the little seed that's tucked in there, And all of a sudden, the pretty yellow flower turns into a big white puff. Now these seeds, they're like little parachutes, When the wind blows, it carries them off and they get planted in your neighbor's yard or down the street. Pretty neat, Dandelions have a really deep root like a carrot, Except it's not orange. It goes way deep down into the soil, and gathers all the nutrients it needs. They even are a source of pollen and nectar for the bees, That's pretty cool. Now kids, remember, sometimes we gotta be more like the dandelion, Just like they have a deep root in the ground, we have to have a deep root in God's Word, which is the Bible, Sometimes Jesus uses our words like the little seeds of the dandelion. They get carried off in the wind, and you never know where they may take root, but God gives them the growth. Next time you see these little weeds, remember, there's more than meets the eye. And don't forget to get oot and a boot and explore God's creation.
All right, thank you, Don Terrio, as that was some very, very interesting, I don't know what you call that.
Naturing.
Yeah, experiencing nature and learning about nature, very, very informative.
I am super informed right now. I'm ready to survive in the wild with dandelions.
Yes.
Like dandelion salad.
And dandelion tea.
And that is a thing too. Yeah. So if you want to try it, don't ask us.
I actually have tried dandelion tea before.
Is it good?
It's kind of bland. There's not a whole lot of flavor. It just
Really?
kind of tastes like grass.
I would think it would be very bitter.
Wow.
But I don't know. But anyways, without further ado, I got to do a spiel right now because it is the segment that is on every week and it has not been missed since the start of this very show.
Over a year ago.
Over a year ago. So this is a very historical segment and a very loved segment by me and by Gordon right here.
It's true.
And it is time to get those jitterbugs out of your pants because it is music time and Larry and I are going to frolic through the meadows and dance our hearts out. So,
are they going to be meadows of dandelions?
They are indeed.
Wow.
You just good intro. Good smoothed it out there.
Oh yes. All right, over to music.
Bye.
Here I am, I'm ready for you, God. I'm ready, won't hold back. I want to serve. Tell me where, I'm needed anywhere. I promise I will go. I want to serve. 'Cause there are people hurting and crying, and I know that I can make a difference with my life because I'm ready to go now, ready to serve now. Lord, please use me. I give it all, God, all that I have is yours. I'm ready to go now, ready to see you move in my life. I'm stepping out now into this great big world. I'm ready to serve. Here I am, I'm ready for you, God. I'm ready, won't hold back. I want to serve. Tell me where, I'm needed anywhere. I promise I will go. I want to serve. 'Cause there are people hurting and crying, and I know that I can make a difference with my life because I'm ready to go now, ready to serve now. Lord, please use me. I give it all, God, all that I have is yours. I'm ready to go now, ready to see you move in my life. I'm stepping out now into this great big world. Oh, I'm ready to go now, ready to serve now. Lord,
All right, now that you guys have gotten up and gotten those jitterbugs out and are a little tired from all that dancing, it's lots of fun. We're going to roll into a somewhat new segment. We've done it in the past to some extent, but not the same.
We have tweaked it this week because it is not just 2, but 3 crafty boys that are going to be crafting up a real big craft up. Know what I mean?
It sounds pretty crafty.
It is pretty crafty. But without further ado, we need to get on to crafting with the boys.
I think it's get crafty.
I'm being Newfoundlander-y. Okay?
Okay, get crafty with the boys.
The boys.
All right, welcome to Get Crafty with the Boys. We are here, ready to get crafty, and I'm Gordon,
I'm Alex.
And I'm Daniel.
and today we're going to be making some crafts.
So, it may not look like it right now, but we're going to be making caterpillars.
And as you can see, there's a way of making these caterpillars. I'm going to be building it with construction paper. Glue is going to be my way of putting it all together. Alex is going to be doing a combination of construction paper and white paper, and he can color it if he wants, and he's using tape to put it all together. And Gordon is using just white paper, and he is going to use a stapler to put it all together. And he can color or he cannot color, so that is up to him.
All right, so let's just get started. We'll grab some supplies that we need. So I'll take a pair of scissors. Daniel with those scissors.
Thank you.
Start off with a little paper here and there.
And so the first instruction that we are going to do is we are going to cut our paper into strips.
Yes.
To as many strips as you want.
The thinner, the better. It makes it easier to connect later on, but to each their own.
A useful trick is to fold it in half, long ways, and fold it a second time, and then fold it another time. Maybe not enough. And then unfold it, and you have 4 lines to follow, so you can cut.
Or if you're feeling ambitious, just freehand it.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to make mine extra small, so I'm going to cut my strips into half of what they are.
And remember, the thinner you cut them, the more rings you'll have out of each piece of paper.
Nice voice crack.
Yeah, the piece of paper.
The piece of paper. I'm using red as the head of the caterpillar, and green is my body.
I'm using white as the head and white as the body.
Wow. You could change it up, Gordon.
It's true. Maybe I will, but I probably won't. I'll just color it. I'll make it very clear which end of my caterpillar is the head.
By making a face.
Yes. But maybe I'll make a double-headed caterpillar.
Ooh.
I don't know. It's get crafty. You can do what you want.
It's a Hydra caterpillar. And so what you have to do with your strips is make rings, but you put the rings into each other like this to make the body of your caterpillar.
Make sure to draw your face on the caterpillar before you tape it into a ring.
Wow, that was quite the face.
Like that?
That's great, yeah. I like it.
Very artistic.
Slightly artistic. Yours is going to be quite big.
Oh yeah, he's a big boy and he's not ashamed of it.
I got a more realistic caterpillar, and he's quite small. I don't know how realistic it's going to be, though. Made
Yeah,
out
that's
of-
quite realistic, actually.
What say you, Gordon? How is it?
Oh, it's going great. I've created my my Hydra pillar. It's gonna have 3 heads on the front of it, so that'll be fun.
Ooh.
I'm just making the different heads so they all have different personalities.
Well, I think you should make a knight in shining armor to destroy your caterpillar. For another craft. Right, my body is done. It is quite stringy and long. Very, compared to Alex's, it is quite small.
No.
What did you do?
It's like the people all over again.
The stapler cannot fit inside the ring, so I have to.
Oh no!
I have to use absolutely massive rings to connect my.
It never goes right for you in craft time.
No, I'm not very crafty apparently. This guy's gonna be pieced together.
That's why it's all about getting crafty.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everybody's born with it.
You clearly are.
I definitely am not. I do not have the gift for arts of this nature. So there's my first head. It is a massive ring with a tiny face, and we're just gonna go with it. That's cute.
I think I'm pretty done. My face is quite hideous. It
The
doesn't.
caterpillar's not half bad either.
Yeah. Thanks. That's real nice of you, Alex. I'm gonna put him
teasing.
right on the mic. Oh, no, he doesn't.
That's
say.
gonna make a horrendous sound.
Yeah, good.
Just terrible.
Good. I'm gonna make a creepy sound with it.
This ain't no ASMR.
Welcome to ASMR. Today, we're making caterpillars.
Oh, you guys are blitzing this.
Yeah, see? I'm already done. I'm watching Alex now.
Oh, I goofed it.
I can help you, Alex.
No, you stay far away.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make mine longer because I got nothing to do. Oh, I have a perfect idea for my caterpillar. I'm gonna do a little purple ring, so he's like the ugly duckling. He's the odd one out. Fish out of water story.
Fish.
Fish out of water was a purple caterpillar.
Exactly, yeah.
But
But
right now, Scarlett's favorite movie on Disney Plus is Chicken Little.
Oh yes.
And
yeah.
there's the ugly duckling, there's fish out of water, and the run to the litter, all as best friends.
yep.
Is it like a kids movie or is it
Yeah.
like the?
It's with like the alien robots that come.
Yeah, is it that the
Yeah.
one with the alien robots?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, yeah,
And-
that's
and
a that's a great
The
one.
mayor just reads off cue cards.
Yes. Yeah, the mayor is the turkey, right?
Yeah.
What did he say? Her, he, ha, he.
The sky is falling. That's what the fish out of water is from?
That's where a fish out of water comes. They're all named, like all of the kids in the class are named after like I don't know, famous animals or like phrases about
Really?
animals.
I didn't even pick up on
There's like Goosey Lucy, Foxy Loxy, fish out of water, run to the litter.
Yeah, I never actually picked up on that.
I didn't pick up on it until recently. The benefit of watching children's movies as an adult. You pick up on things that you never noticed before. There's a lot of things in Toy Story that we picked up on. Oh. And Toy Story is like my favorite children's movie of all time.
Is Scarlett not afraid of, like, it's not too scary for her? With
The
aliens?
one of the scenes.
No, the Chicken Little.
No,
Wow.
she's good with that.
Really?
She's a brave kid.
That's good. Remember, kids, don't play with scissors, because Gordon is bad for that.
Yeah, I'm not great with sharp things apparently. Well, you guys have beautiful caterpillars. And I'm just Man, I should
Your
have done-
your faces are better than mine.
Yeah, I should have done thick rings like Alex. Man. Look at those. This is a thick boy. Oh no. Oh no.
What did you do?
I was just making a comment about your patterns.
Oh. I thought you were messing
I
up.
made it a real big deal that mine's about a pattern, and now you guys are analyzing your own about a pattern.
Yeah, but I already told mine that it was going to be a ugly duckling kind of one, where it has a odd
I thought it was a fish out of water.
same story. They're all odd ones out. You could also say these are snakes. But
Could be a
not
snake, could be a
not everybody
caterpillar.
loves snakes, so I guess not.
Be whatever you want to make it, kids. Alright, there. I have made my Hydra.
It just looks like a mangle of rings.
They have 3 distinct heads going off in each direction. Some of the heads are apparently upside down. That is what it is.
Nice.
We got one head upside down. It's the one that looks quite discontented, but we've got
that's why.
our caterpillar Hydra, and yeah, he's a bundle of joy. He's our little treasure. So hopefully you guys had lots of fun making your caterpillars at home. We had lots of fun giving our little bit of creativity, and
I had fun watching Gordon struggle.
yes, I'm not great at crafts. I skipped all the craft periods when I was at camp and opted for archery and windsurfing. So
I would too.
it is what it is. I am happy with my creation. I don't know about you guys.
Ecstatic.
I am quite happy with mine, except for the face. The face is quite hideous, but if I had Alex's face on my little caterpillar, I'd be very happy. But
All right, well, that concludes our very interesting segment, and we'll show you guys a close-up of all of our caterpillars, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. See you guys. All right, I hope you guys had lots of fun making those caterpillars. They look pretty cool, and we had fun making ours, as you guys saw.
We did. We are real crafty boys.
No heads were chopped off this time during craft segment, but we
Watch previous episodes to get what he means.
yes, the Christmas special has a little craft segment that is very special.
We decapitate little people.
Yep.
Anyways, now it is time to mellow out. I know we've had a lot of action-packed, full of just energy segments with Oot and a Boot, music, and then crafty with the boys. But now it's time to mellow out. It's time to chillax. Time to chill. Because it is Bible time. And my good friend, Gordon, is going to be presenting us, a very informative message, and it is...
Well, it'll be continuing on the same series that we've been talking about for quite some time now. I think this is week 6.
Yeah?
It's either 5 or 6 on the Mount, the Sermon on the Mount.
The Sermon on the Mount. There you go. I always forget. But you remind me.
I forget too, but that's why I said the Mount and not Sermon on the Mount. But
Yes.
I did correct myself.
Yes, you did. So, now, time to do a bit of Sermon on the Mounting. So, without further ado, over to Bible time.
All right, guys, welcome to Bible Time. We are continuing on with our series regarding the Sermon on the Mount, which is Jesus's most famous sermon, and it's called the Sermon on the Mount because he stood up on a hill or a mountain or hillside to preach, kind of like what I've got behind me that's now being overrun by emojis. And yeah, each week we're adding a different emoji to help us remember what we've learned about. And today we're talking that Jesus preached about how God helps us to love our enemies. So let's put a heart to show how it feels when someone is an enemy to us. And we'll put that up here. Perfect. All right. Now, we're going to start off with just a little bit of a preamble, if you will. I am going to discuss what I do to show love to a friend. And quite simply, tell them you love them. That is the simplest thing that you can do to a friend to let them know that you care. You say, I love you. Now, it might seem really weird and really awkward the first time doing it, but that should be the starting point. You shouldn't have to go out of your way to find this weird thing that you can do to show your love for your friends. You should be able to just say, hey, I love you, man. Or, I love you, brother. And it not be weird. There's no romantic love involved in that. It's just, we are friends. I love you as a friend. You should be able to just say, I love you to your friends. But unfortunately, the context we live in, it definitely would come across as weird if you're just going up to a friend and saying, I love you. But we will work on that and make it not as weird. Now, there are lots of other things you can do to show your love to your friend. You can do something for them. If you know that they need extra help with their homework, you can help them with their homework. Or if typically requires you to know them, know what their need is, and put their need before your own. That is the deepest way you can show love. But the most simplest is just saying, I love you. It's difficult at first, but it gets easier, I promise. Now, I want you guys at home to discuss what you do to show love to your friends. All right, so it is easy to show love to our friends who love us back. But Jesus asked us to go beyond just loving easy to love people. Jesus said, God helps us love our enemies. So let's find out more about what Jesus said in the Bible. And the Bible is one way that God helps us to grow more by loving people. And he shows us what his love is like and how we are supposed to share that love with the world. Now, before we dive into this, we're going to start off by playing a little bit of a card game or whatever you want. I want you to grab a collection of something at home. Whether that could be playing cards, or it could be apples if you so desire. Anything that you have at least 20 of. All right? So if you have 20 action figures, you can put them all out. That's all you need. Find something that you have 20 of. And what you're going to do is between you and one other person, you're going to split them down the middle. So if you're using action figures, 10 action figures go to the one person, 10 go to the other person. Now, the goal is to get the most of these items in your own possession. So if you're using playing cards, you each start with 10. You want to end with the most. You want to end with 20 cards. That's the absolute most you can get. But what you're going to do is you hold your 10 items in your hand or on the table in front of you. And what you're going to do is pick one of your opponent's items that you will take for your own. Then your opponent will pick something of yours that they want for their own. All right? So your turn, you get to pick something from your opponent and take it as your own. Your opponent's turn, they pick something from you and they keep it as their own. It's that simple. All right? Go back and forth, and whoever ends with the most wins. And remember, you can only take one item at a time. Okay. Now, if you played that game, which I hope some of you did, how did the rules make the game hard to win? So, in our game, when your opponent took one of your items, whether that's a card or an action figure or whatever you used, you always took one back. And sometimes we do that in life. When someone is mean to us, we're mean back to them. And I want you to think, what's wrong with this approach to life? What is wrong about taking if somebody else has taken from us? So the game was certainly fair, but it was pointless. As soon as your opponent took one of your items, you took one back. Nobody got ahead. And most people like things to be fair in life. And in fact, Jesus quoted a law that talked about fairness. So let's read Matthew chapter 5, verse 38. All right. Matthew chapter 5, verse 38. You have heard that it was said, that's the reference to the previous law, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That sounds pretty fair. The people that Jesus was talking to thought that this was a good and fair law. It kept things fair and even. If somebody took your eye, you're allowed to take their eye. If somebody knocked one of your teeth out, you get to take one of their teeth out. Like, even Stevens there. But when we're talking about getting even with somebody, there's no end to that revenge. It will constantly happen. You will always have a negative emotion regarding that person because they took something from you. Now, imagine that a friend of yours does something mean. So you get back at them, and then they get back at you, and you then get back at them. What would happen to your friendship? Likely, it would come to an end. Just like in our game, the mean things could go on forever, back and forth. Nobody getting ahead. There's no point to it. So Jesus tells us that there's a different way to live. And we're going to read Matthew chapter 5, 39 to 40. But I tell you, don't resist an evildoer. On the contrary, if anyone slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. As for the one who wants to sue you and take away your shirt, let him have your coat as well. Now, we're supposed to go above and beyond. Jesus tells us that if we're slapped across the face, we turn the other cheek and let them do it again. Or, if you are being sued and they want your shirt, give them your coat too. It's a very interesting situation that Jesus outlines here. So, we're going to play that game again, where you have your 20 items, or your 20 objects. This time, whichever person is older won't take cards or action figures, whatever you're using. They won't take any. Instead, when your opponent takes something from you, you give that person an extra one. And instead of focusing on your cards, focus on being extra kind to your opponent. And by the end of this, the younger person of the two should have all 20 cards. All right, so what did you think of this round of the game? How could something being unfair actually end up being better. So this game was not fair at all, but it was loving. And at least on the part of the older player. Jesus' way won't always be fair to us. But instead of focusing on getting even when someone hurts us, we can focus on showing love to them. That's because God helps us love our enemies. And if you're playing a game, you're not necessarily enemies, but you are opponents. So in a way, God helps us love our opponents. Before we get too off on that sidetrack, I do want to clear one thing up. When Jesus said to let someone slap your other cheek, he wasn't saying you should let a bully beat you up. Jesus was using something called hyperbole, which is a big fancy term that you will probably learn in high school. And hyperbole is when you use extreme exaggerated statements to make a point. If someone actually slaps your face, you don't need to let that person keep hitting you. Jesus' point was simply that we should do the unexpected thing and not retaliate. That we should go above and beyond to show love instead of getting revenge. Now, let's look at another way Jesus put this same idea. Have you ever heard the phrase, go the extra mile? What does it mean? The phrase, go the extra mile, is used a lot today. And it started with Jesus. So let's check it out. And we're turning to Matthew chapter 5, and we're going to read verse 41. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Now, going that extra mile. In Jesus' day, there was a law that said a Roman soldier could pick anyone out of the crowd and force that person to carry all of the soldier's gear for a whole mile. And the Jewish people really didn't like this rule because not only did it interrupt their entire day, but the Roman soldiers were also their enemies. But God helps us to love our enemies. So Jesus said to walk twice as far for that Roman soldier. If he asks you to carry all of his gear for 1 mile, go and carry it for 2. Go above and beyond to show love to that person who might hate your guts. Now, what would it look like to go the extra mile for someone who's mean to you? Take a minute and discuss. So God helps us to love our enemies. Instead of getting revenge, we can go above and beyond to be generous and loving to our enemies. Here's a summary of what Jesus had to say about getting even. And that's the very next verse, Matthew chapter 5, verse 42. Give to the one who asks you, and don't turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. So, that's what Jesus said about taking revenge on our enemies. But Jesus then goes further than that and talks about how God helps us to love our enemies. And as we read on, we will need an enemy. So, I want you to take a minute, grab a piece of paper and a writing utensil, and draw a stick figure. Now, don't make this stick figure look like anybody in particular. Just make it a very simple stick figure. But I want you to also think of a person who is mean to you and keep that person in the back of your mind while you are doing this. All right, so we all have things that we'd like to say to our enemies. Here's your chance to do that. With your finger, and not your pen, write on your paper what you'd like to say to your enemy. What you write will obviously be invisible because you're using your finger and not your pen. So take a moment, write what you want to say to your enemy with your finger. All right, so most people would expect us to say mean things to our enemies. But Jesus reminded us that God helps us to love our enemies. And here's what he said to do. And we're going to read the next few verses in Matthew chapter 5. We're going to read 43 to 45. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father in heaven. For he causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. So let's try praying for our enemies. Using your pen now, not your finger, using your pen so that you can actually see what you're writing, I want you to write a prayer all the way around your stick figure. And you can do multiple circles, just keep writing around your stick figure. Don't write a prayer about your enemy, asking God to change them. Instead, pray for your enemy and for your enemy to see God's love. Now, God helps us to love our enemies, and he can help us see people the way that he sees them. He can help us show love instead of getting even. And often, as we regularly pray for our enemies, he can help change our hearts so we see them as he does. Let's close by silently reading those prayers that you just wrote. Take a minute. You can pause the video. Read out your prayer that you just wrote about your enemy, the person that you have in the back of your mind, the person that has been mean to you. I want you to legitimately pray for them. This is an act of love, praying for them. And when you are done, I'll close in a final prayer, and then we'll pass it back over to the newsroom. Hey God, thank you for bringing us together today to share in this awesome time of fellowship, even though we are a time apart. God, I pray that you continue to bless us and strengthen us as we love our enemies, and we continue to love our friends as well. God, please let us to continue to be your light in the world and share that love that we get from you to all those around us. Pray this in your name. Amen. All right, that's it for Bible time, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Come back next week. We'll continue on with the Sermon on the Mount. And see you next week.
All right, and now that we are wrapped up with Bible time, we say thank you to Gordon, and we enjoyed the good discussion from the Sermon on the Mount, and we'll continue on with that series. And I'll not extend my discussion any longer. As you can see, Daniel is withering away. He's just slowly disappearing. It is the end of the episode, so Daniel is down and a little sad, and at this point he's just ahead. We're gonna go into bloopers now. One sheet of paper today.
And I had, no, we should just do this.
All right.
Everything's off today. Your hair, my nose.
Your nose.
Notes.
Oh, nodes. I was like, what's wrong with your nose?
My big old schnozzle.
It's hidden under the mask. Nobody can see that. Ah! Nobody can help to look at the glare off my head, though. Jeepers.
Want me to polish it for you?
I love the feel of buzz cut, though. Like, it feels so nice.
I like my hair as is.
The stubble feels nice. All right.
Okay.
Down to business. Let's make this speedy because these suits are warm.
I am hot.
All right.
Okay.
The sun is in my eyes. Back in the 1800s, people realized how useful the dandelions were. My mouth.
Maybe go like close to the camera so it's not going right in his face.
They went in my mouth. Okay. Oh shoot. Okay, you can cut this in, right?
Yep.
Next time. Oh, I folded it. And they reveal the little seed that's tucked in there, eh? And all of a sudden, the pretty yellow flower turns into a big white puff.
I'm Dubai's.
Yeah.
Dubai.
I think we're just calling it the boys, but
No. Dubai's.
the buys.
Dubai's. It's Dubai's.
The buys.
Warm water. Ooh. That might be the one. And we're going to find out more about what Jesus said in the Bible. Which I realized my Bible is not on my desk, so I will be right back. Alright, now I have my Bible. And we're going to read that in Matthew chapter 5, and we're going to read 39 to